Hello, everyone. Welcome to Drop Frames episode whatever. And I'm JP McDan. I don't know what episode it is. Co
814.
814. Okay. Zeke, you wanna-
Wow.
what?
That's way off, I bet.
We're in the hundreds. It's
I'd say
100.
give or take, 15 or 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it's close. It's close.
I wasn't keeping track.
Yeah. We should start off the show and saying T-Rex, welcome. First of all, that was a nice little welcome noise there, Co. It was great. Please silence your phones.
I don't know where my phone is.
The show is about to
The
begin.
show is about to begin. I didn't know where to go with that. I was trying to should I make the beep noises that they usually do in the theaters? But Zeke got me covered. Have you been on the show, T? Because we had you in the back end for the break screen. And I was like, I don't think T-Rex has been on, but maybe I'm just completely mistaken.
We did a very long time ago. We did Fandom with me and
That's
Roman and
why
Goth.
you're okay. Now I remember why you're in the system. Yeah, it's like why I don't think he's. Anyways, now
You
that makes sense.
sleep work, and you just knew that at some point.
I mean, I didn't. I just told Daniel to do that shit, so I had zero work involved in any of that. Yeah, he was the one that did all that stuff.
Whatever happened to that show?
Fandom. It's a weird show, man. It's just weird. I don't know. You can only be fans of so many things, and then after a while, you're just like, man, that thing's pretty good. Oh yeah, it is pretty good. Cool. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. And that's fandom in a nutshell. I think what we're gonna do though is a Kingdom Hearts episode, and we're gonna get Co and Zeke to play through the entire Kingdom Hearts series, and then bring them on fandom because they're gonna be the biggest fans of Kingdom Hearts.
Well, it's going to be tough because I will be dead after having committed Harry Carry or whatever you call it.
Yeah,
I believe it's pronounced Sudoku.
yeah.
There you go. After committing that, after playing the first Kingdom Hearts and getting halfway through the second one and not being able to take it anymore.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, see, I like that suggestion. Let's do a Witcher fandom sometime. Or a Cyberpunk fandom for when that comes out.
I mean, the games. How can you do a fandom over something you never played yet? It would have to be like the week after.
We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out. I don't know. Fandom's on hiatus. That's what's going on. T, thanks for coming on. I know it's biggest launch week probably for your Twitch this year with Destiny 2 coming out. So I know your time's valuable this week. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah,
Take a little bit of a break. It's fine.
Yeah,
I don't mind talking about stuff.
How you doing sleep-wise? Where are you at sleep-wise right now?
I was really groggy when I woke up. I did 18 hours streaming yesterday, and then I went to sleep, and then I woke up. My cat was on top of me because I usually close my door, but I didn't this time, and she knows. She's like gets in trouble if she sleeps with me in my bed just because she claws when she sleeps, which is not great for me.
Yeah.
I didn't notice at all. I slept like a rock all night, and so I woke up and there's just this heavy thing on my shoulder. And I streamed till now, so I've done nothing but eat and sleep and stream for the past day and a little bit.
So it's pretty good. You're having a fun time then, safe to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we'll just jump into it. For those wondering, we'll probably do Destiny 2 for the first half, and then second half we'll let T get back to his Destiny 2 and we'll talk about some other video because T-Rex doesn't play other games.
He's like, I can see him fidgeting like.
No, he's probably got it
It's
open
fine,
right now.
man. Like I had it in the background.
Yeah.
As soon as you're like, all right, give you 5.
He's
I'm
got-
like, gotta go to orbit. I gotta go to orbit.
Yeah, he's got the soundtrack in his ears to keep him, involved.
It's funny you mentioned that because I'm actually.
No,
I don't know if you can.
I don't know if you can see, but that's the screen I'm looking at right now.
Good. Well, good. You can ask him the questions then about the game because I'm just going to be asking things that I've watched, and I think Co probably as well. But yeah, how'd the launch go in your opinion and estimation? How'd everything go both on Twitch and for Bungie and server wise, stability wise? How'd that all work out?
So this year they went with a rolling launch versus what they've done in the past, which is kind of flip the servers on, hope for the best. So for the most part, at initial logon when New Zealand went live, which is when all the servers went live, but there was also regional digital lockout. Folks who had physical copies or had like press copies that were digital and stuff like that got to play immediately. So as soon as those went live, I had no issues. I don't think anyone that I knew of had issues who were doing that. Now, throughout the day, people were pretty much fine for the most part for servers. But then as soon as the US release hit, that was 11 Eastern. Oh, man, people were it was just a queue. There was just like
Really?
temporary full through authentication because there's just a bottleneck. But as soon as that bottleneck was like, it was like maybe 30 minutes, it was fine since then. But then again, I wasn't a part of that, so I can't really say, from the actual experience perspective how that was.
Right.
But compared to like Rise of Iron, where folks were stuck for pretty, I felt longer. I don't actually remember because I was once again lucky there too, where I got in really quickly. But it was at least an hour, I think. So that went down. Now for like on Twitch and stuff, like it's been great. It's nice having a game that I'm more known for be popular again for a little bit, so that way I can have some growth and whatnot. That always feels good for a streamer. And then for Bungie, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like nothing but smiles. I think they made something really special for people who like the series, because I know it's not for everybody. I don't think any game has that wide of an appeal, but
Yeah.
for those who love the series, it's definitely an improvement.
Yeah, I feel like, and maybe I just follow a bunch of Destiny fans, but I haven't really seen too much negative comments about the game. I think everyone that's like shitting on it is PC players that are upset they can't play it, or people that never have touched it to begin with, and just it's the same people that shit on Call of Duty, right? Like people that don't play Call of Duty and just
Yeah.
like to make fun of it because that's a fun thing to make fun of.
Well, and there's a sizable portion that I truly think was expecting them to kind of reinvent the wheel with Destiny 2, which I don't think they were planning to do.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the intention. I think that would have alienated more people than it would have brought in.
Right.
But there is a very vocal minority of people that are like, it's just more of the same. It's so dumb, blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, man.
I then asked them. I then asked them if they know what a sequel is, but then I don't know.
Yeah,
But then there's people like me who are going, it's more of the same. It's more of the same.
right. Yeah, I mean, Destiny players want more of the same, right? Like it. I feel like I was watching a couple of the streams yesterday, and pretty much everyone that was kind of a part of the Destiny community to begin with played a lot of Destiny 1 and streamed a lot of Destiny 1. There was a lot of like, drive-by chatters. They were just like, oh man, this is Destiny 1.5. And they just got so triggered. Like it was just like a red light went off in their head and they got really upset at that. But I think that's a fair term. But I don't think it's a bad term. I think it's a term of like, yeah, it's Destiny 1.5 because Destiny 1 was awesome. We like Destiny 1. They didn't really need to change that much. We just wanted more.
I think that if Destiny was always a PC game and was never on console, I can't speak for how Destiny 2 and stuff actually would go, but it feels very much like an MMO release cycle. So if it could be graphically updated efficiently on like consoles, but like, on the PC side, if in this narrative, then
Right.
I think that, yeah, maybe that Destiny 2 would have been a giant, like, cataclysm for like WoW, but for Destiny instead. But you can't really do that with consoles, or maybe you can, but it's certainly not that I know of has been done before. So I guess for people who aren't like maybe as invested and see all the differences between the two, that's probably fair. But I guess for me, who understands everything, but then again, that's not really fair to expect everyone to know as much as someone who's played like the game for like 5,000 hours and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, but yeah, it's kind of that way. But plus, like Bungie's never been ones to kind of like release like expansions and stuff like that. They've always been, like it was Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3. It wasn't like Halo 1.5, Halo 2.5, stuff like that. They didn't do these really big overarching expansions on Halo. They did it with Destiny for the first time. So I think that at least for a lot of console people, it's really, I guess it makes sense, but for people who don't play or who are on PC, it's like, oh, it looks very similar. It has a lot of new stuff, but then it's, they think expansion. They don't think it's a brand new game. But after playing it and the graphical updates, for me as a console player, it definitely feels like a sequel. But I wouldn't say it's unfair to say for folks who don't understand for it to be like Destiny 1.5.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, I think those are the drive-by chatters that look at the game and see, gun is still big. It's still there. There's a lot of sparkly stuff going on. You got items. You got exotic weapons. Oh, it's Destiny. Like that's kind of where they're coming from.
It's the same folks who like can't get over the fact that it's 30 FPS still and
right,
stuff like
right.
that.
I did see. I thought it was funny. A lot of the non-Destiny streamers, the I guess the variety streamers playing Destiny now, that would say such a thing, definitely got over it pretty quickly, and they were even pretty vocal about it, saying like, it's 30 FPS, but I've played enough now, it doesn't bother me. But
Yeah, it's one of the things to where it's made well enough that although yes, like 60 FPS is preferred after playing the PC beta. Oh man,
Yeah.
like, it's so good there. Like
Right.
when I first played it on PC, the term I used was unsettlingly good because I've seen that for so long. To see it in 60 FPS and the graphical updates and all the particle effects, I was like, it's weird. So, and then I had the inverse of that going back and playing on 30, where I was like, I was used to this stuff and now it's gone.
Sure, yeah.
But because the gameplay's so good, you get over stuff like that pretty quickly. Because it's not like there's those games that they try to be at 60, but then they have like all the frame drops and stuff like that. To where that's, I think most people can agree, way worse than being like locked 30 is having like lots of frame rate problems on any platform.
Totally.
I would take lock 30 over like 60 and then sometimes 48 and then 37 and then bouncing back up to 60. I'd rather have a smooth frame rate than a jumpy one.
Yeah, I think a good example of that, or at least one that came to mind right off the bat, was Final Fantasy 15, where it was just kind of like it never really did anything higher than 30, but when it did, you would notice it for like the split second when you were zoomed in right at the back of your character and you could see things going at 60, and then it would just fucking plummet the second you would turn. But yeah,
I have to admit, with as much kind of controversy between the two versions, unsettling is an interesting way to put it, because like I definitely, from the PC version to like the streams of what I've seen, even the highest quality streams I can get to, it is a sizable difference. I mean, there's so much that goes on in Destiny, and the graphics are so pretty and they kind of pop so much. Like that just accentuates the difference between the 30 and 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, like it is interesting how different they are. Especially, I'm also kind of surprised they didn't put the FOV slider in the console versions, because wasn't that something the console people were asking for anyway?
They have been, and I obviously can't tell them as to why they didn't. I don't know.
Seems weird.
No, that was one of the first things that, because I did a little like mini late night stream last night, and one of the first things was like, I'm gonna go in the menu, see if there's, I'm gonna pick up the FOV a little bit, and my chat just erupted with ha 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 FOV.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is this a point of contention? Apparently it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm so excited to play on PC again, is because 100%, like the 60 FPS is way better, and I definitely want to experience it. And, you know, all like in the FOV sliders, all these things I'm used to, you know, I can't expect someone who's never played the game to be okay with like the lack of FOV sliders. But I think Co put it best, is that when you play it and you do start to enjoy it, a lot of the things that you feel like are flaws kind of start to fall into the background, because what's there is so good. And that was me with Destiny 1, was that, yeah, there's things we discussed about and things we didn't like for a long time that sometimes never got fixed. But the things they got right kind of dwarfed all of them. You know, we always were vocal about things we wanted, and I hope that continues in a Destiny 2, so that way we can make the game better.
Right.
But it's one of those things where it's just kind of weird. It's interesting to see, and that's why I think why it'll be very interesting seeing how the PC folks truly receive it when they have the full game versus just the beta. And I'm really excited to see how the game gets better overall.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I feel like Destiny is the type of game that once you kind of do the raid, and this kind of goes for most MMOs, and I think most people would play MMOs like that. You log in maybe once or twice a week, you do your weekly stuff, and then you do your raid, and then you kind of log out. But I feel like on console, at least, the people, the players of it are much more rabid and will just stay in forever and just farm the things that really are not the best to farm, but it's just something to do. I don't know if that's going to be the case for PC. Maybe it will be. Maybe it'll even be more so, because you're going to have the people that played WoW for days or years or whatever, right? Like you're going to have that crowd that's just totally about grinding pointless things.
Yeah.
But I'm real interested to see how that goes.
Yeah. I did the same thing with Final Fantasy 14 before Stormblood came out. I was working on finishing my anima for so long, and it didn't matter at all.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a book that had dragon wings on it. So, you know, I'm definitely not the person who's going to have an issue with doing the same thing over and over again for potentially no real reward, just besides like cosmetic. But I'm a completionist, so like I spent a majority of like the lack of content times with Destiny 1 just collecting everything, because that's just what I do for games I love. So I got all the shaders, ships, all that kind of stuff, and try to do all that stuff. And it was maddening at times, frustratingly, angeringly so. Trying to originally like get all my exotic class items for every single class for every faction. But then once I was done, I was like, great.
So
Feels good.
I want to get into the story in just a bit, but you brought up all the different classes and stuff. You know, once PC launches, will you have Xbox, PS4, PC, all characters leveled on each system? So 9 total characters. Is that kind of the goal?
I'm probably I don't think I can do all 3 and stay sane and still enjoy the game, you know. Like, I just don't think that's, at least for me. Like, some folks can do it. Some folks did that with originally, but I stuck on PS4 mostly because when I was doing both, I realized I just wasn't having as much fun, like, period, because it became very much like a chore.
Sure.
So I can't speak for if I'll be able to maintain all 3, but my goal is to try to maintain at least, you know, 3 characters on one, like on PC, and then like have maybe 1 or 2 maintained on PS4, just so I can continue playing with folks who I want to play with. You know, you don't necessarily have to have everything on every platform, but it's nice to like be like, you know, if I get hit up by, you know, so and so on this platform, I can, you know, be like, yeah, I can do it, because it's fun playing with people. That's the whole point.
Yeah. So how's the story? Where I think how long? I think it was like 7 to 9 hours ish.
It took me about because if you include like the grinding and just kind of how you as a player will wander, it took me about 10 hours. I imagine it'll take folks who were more far into the game probably longer than that, or not. If they just wanted to be like, you know what, I'm the person who's like point A, point B, all the story together, it might be less. But what was there was definitely a lot better presented than it was in Destiny 1. And there's a lot of post-story content as well, with a lot of the quests that unlock afterwards that are pretty interesting as well.
Okay. You said it's more like, can you give any examples? Just more cutscenes? Is there more like characters walking around in the actual missions? Like where did they add in the story?
So Destiny 1 was really cryptic in its story, to where, one, a lot of it was locked behind lore and grimoire cards that was not presented in the game, and you had to go to Bungie's website to look at. And that stuff really was fantastic, but because of the barrier of like reading it and stuff like that, it was frustrating. Like, a lot of folks just said no. But in Destiny 2, 1, that lore that exists is now in the game. So every exotic weapon and armor piece has a lore tab where you can kind of read like a little tidbit or a story about that weapon or armor piece, and kind of, you know, understanding where it came from, or maybe it's like a joke story or something like that. And on top of that, the actual story is 1. Yeah, way more cutscenes, a lot more conversations between NPCs, so you kind of get their drive and their feelings. Like, it goes from being something where it's just kind of like, almost kind of like, you know, when there's people who make movies who use jump cuts everywhere, and you're trying to figure out how a fight scene actually is working. Imagine that, but for a story. Like, that's kind of how Destiny 1 was. A lot of jump cuts. So we were like, all right, we were fighting the Vex, and now we're on Mars fighting Cabal now? I thought we were fighting the Vex, and it kind of bounces around that way sometimes, but leaves a lot of, like, the back end of the heavy story lifting with the lore. And I think that, for me, like, it's why I like Dark Souls story, quote unquote, because I read the weapons and stuff like that. But for a lot of folks, they don't care at all.
That lore.
Plus,
man.
Destiny 1 was sold as an epic space narrative. And because people didn't get that, it's, you know, the same thing with No Man's Sky. They said one thing and presented another, and it creates dissension, obviously.
Sure. Zeke, I think this might be where you can jump in here. How far are you in the story, and what's your take on it?
I'm not super duper far. I'm about I don't know. I think I played it for like 3-4 hours last night, something like that, and I did some farting around and world events or whatever they call them. But I will say that the story thus far has definitely been very, I mean, it's great, and it's straightforward. It's like, here's the bad guy, he's got your friend, we got to do something about it. Not only that, but the bad guy, he is taking away, like, he's trying to take away everything that gives everybody power and stuff like that. And he wants it for himself. He's this, you know, and he has this great, like, the voice acting in it, I have to say, is fucking phenomenal. It's some of the best voice acting in any game of recent memory. just archetypes, just the bad guy with the really deep voice, and he speaks really slowly, and it's really fucking ominous. And then you got the smart ass who's like this fucking, this like dashing rogue gunslinger guy. And you've got, the leader guy who's like steadfast, and he's like, he knows exactly what to do and shit like that. You've got these archetypes, but they're so well acted, and the voice, the lines that they're given are so good that it pumps me up playing the game to get to these cutscenes, because I really enjoyed, like, we talked about it when I played the beta. Like there's certain like lines or action sequences that you just like, fuck yeah, and shit like that. And they have a lot of that in this. Like as far as what I've seen so far.
For me, the one thing, I woke up like a normie yesterday at like 6 a.m. And it was just a nightmare. But it was right when Destiny was getting ready to go live, I think it was yesterday. In New Zealand, and I got to see the first mission after the mission you played in the beta, and the music in that mission was just, I was blown away that I was listening to a score from a game like Destiny, because it was fucking phenomenal. Does it continue that way throughout the entire campaign or the entire story part of it?
It does. And the biggest thing, and I think for those who played the beta can agree with, but the actual sound design in the game is it's night and day compared to the first game, and it's just really freaking good. Like all the guns sound meaty, and just they sound exactly how I feel, as they should when I see it.
Right.
And it's really rewarding to, like, you see something, you aim at it, pull the trigger, and this great sound comes out and something dies. Like there's just something intrinsically good about that when you hear it and experience it for yourself.
It was a little weird. Someone was using I think the exotic is ColdFusion. Does that make sense?
Coldheart, yeah.
Coldheart, yeah. That gun sucks in the way that it shoots. Every gun has like recoil and sounds like a gun, and this one's just like
Laser beam, dude.
It's like a laser beam. It just like doesn't. I don't know. It was weird watching people shoot that, because I was like, where the fuck is the explosion? We need more explosions.
It burrows into your head, that sound too, to where I'm like, I can't use this for long periods of time.
Yeah,
just that sound. It's like you have tinnitus almost.
Yeah, it was triggering.
Like,
I was literally just playing Path of Exile and kind of had a Destiny stream on the background, and they started using that gun, and it was just just nonstop. I'm like, what the fuck is this gun? It was really annoying, but the gun's supposed to be pretty good, so. With my luck, if I end up playing, it's probably what's going to be my first exotic, unfortunately. But whatever.
Okay. Let me just jump in here real quick now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or if I have it misconstrued or whatever. But something that really pissed me off, if it's true, and I've been told it's true, shotguns are now heavy, and so are snipers.
It's a power weapon, yes,
or a power weapon.
So that's one of the changes.
So it goes in the same slot. It goes in the same slot as grenade launchers, rocket launchers, that kind of shit.
Yep.
Well,
they also seem to do a lot more damage.
I hate it so much. I hate it so much.
They do, like, I used the shotgun a lot in PvE or PvP when I was playing the Titan on the PC.
Everybody did. It was awesome.
And oh my god, the shotgun's amazing. Like it's basically an instant kill if you're anywhere between short and mid range, and if you're right next to him, it's done. So yeah.
I loved it. I people would get all salty about, like, he's just sliding and using the shotgun, and it's like, go ahead, why don't you do it then?
Can you explain that a little bit? Because that's one of the big changes of the game, and for people that don't play,
is the ammo economy and the weapon economy.
Yeah.
So in Destiny 1, you had your primary, your special, and your heavy. Primaries were hand cannons. So this shouldn't be hard. It's hand cannons, auto rifles, pulse rifles, and scout rifles. And then specials were sniper rifles, shotguns, fusion rifles, sidearms. Sounds right. And
there's
then,
a quiz. If you fail, you don't get to play any more Destiny.
Dude, cut me some slack. I cut that. I'm having to relearn everything because they changed all the systems. So now I'm like, wait, no, that's in Destiny 2.
Pulse rifles
and then heavies
were secondary, and fusion rifles were still heavy, right?
Fusion rifles are heavy. Yes, they are power weapons now.
No, were they before?
No, they were special. They were in the special slot.
Okay.
There was one heavy called the Sleeper Simulant, which shot a big giant laser that was used for boss damage and stuff like that. But then heavies were only they were rocket launchers, machine guns, and that was basically, and swords as well. And swords are there as well in the power weapon slot. And now you have kinetic and energy weapons, which are all the same class of items. It's your hand cannons, your submachine guns, sidearms, auto rifles, pulse rifles, and scouts. They can be in either of those slots, but one has an element and one doesn't. Kinetic does more damage to unarmored enemies. Elemental does more to folks that have big shields. No matter what the shield type is, will do more unless there's modifiers on. And then heavy, power. See, that's the whole thing, is they changed the word. So it's power weapons. That is your sniper rifles, grenade launchers, shotguns, rocket launchers, and swords. And there's also some things that do extra other stuff. Okay. And the big complaint in the console beta, which they fixed in the PC beta, was that you were really starved for that ammo, and you couldn't really ever have fun with these weapons, right? And that's completely fair. Like, if you have a weapon, you want to use it. You want to have that moment of like, where you just mess something up.
Doesn't happen with that
really
fucking
absent.
laser, by the way. It sounds like shit. It's a bad gun. Don't use that gun. I'm gonna find someone using that gun so you guys can experience.
Nice.
But yeah, is the system well received? Like, do people just take it some getting used to?
It's better now because they changed something. They changed the way the ammo economy works. You always have a random chance to get power ammo from random kills around whenever. But if you ever fight a non-red bar enemy, there's a handful of exceptions, but it's pretty rare. If you kill them, they will drop power ammo every single time. So when you want to use power ammo against something where it's like, this is a big baddie, I need to kill him, you're probably going to get some back. So that way you're not like, oh crap, I'm out, and you got to worry about that all the time. So there's some missions that give you an immense amount of power ammo. Like the public events, as you do some of them, they're like, oh yeah, there's like 30 of those enemies and everyone's killing them. So it's like you're just walking around just covered in power ammo.
Yeah.
But then there's still those times where, yes, you are power ammo starved, but I feel like that's kind of how maybe the encounters were designed. I can't safely say if it's great or not because I haven't played enough. I think where it's going to matter the most is going to be in the raid, because that's where a lot of those choices really matter about how you're playing and stuff like that. That'll be next week. But I think I originally really didn't understand it. I think it's a little better now. I don't know if it's the best decision. I can't say it's a good or a bad one, but because they changed the way the drop rates work, I think it's better than I originally thought it was. I'd say that at least.
I looked that apparently that Cold Hard item is pre-order only, so just don't pre-order the game and you'll have a better experience.
Nah, you'll get it in December, whether you want it or not.
Oh, really? They're just gonna give it to everyone in December, you think?
No, that's when the pre-order as a bonus runs out. It'll just be in the game as a loot drop.
Oh, okay.
To be honest with you, it kind of reminds me of have you guys ever watched Futurama and when they went to war and they had a wind-up gun?
Yep. No, you're right. It is that type of annoyance. You're right. You're 100% right. What about the subclasses? Because those are a little bit different this time around as well, correct? There's now 3, or was there always 3? They're just different. I don't know the differences. Tell me about that.
The classes? Right?
Yeah. Well, the subclasses.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. So there's still 3 classes, but then there is, I guess, spoiler, if you care, you have all 3 subclasses again that you unlock. The game did not. We had no idea until people leaked it that we were getting 3 subclasses per class.
Oh. Okay.
We got some in Destiny 1 in the Taken King and the DLC. Each class got a new subclass. And they didn't tell us we were getting all 3 again. They only showed off 2 for each and said nothing about the ones that were missing. And then all of a sudden, you get them again.
It's the same one, though? All the same ones?
Yes,
they're all the same. Okay.
Night Stalker, Stormcaller, and Sunbreaker are the ones for each of the classes. And yeah, they're named the same. The Warlock one feels very similar. It feels like it got the least amount of change for the subclasses. But they feel really good now. I don't feel like I'm only ever going to play just one, which is exciting right now. The playstyle difference between your subclasses is pretty massive in my opinion currently. And then you have basically attunements in those subclasses to where you can kind of choose your play style within that play style. Like I play a lot of Voidwalker recently, and basically I can be super tanky and like steal health from everything, or I can explode everything instead. Like those are kind of the two play styles.
Voidwalker's my shit.
It's so fun.
It sucks that you have to start with the fire, whatever the one.
The Dawnblade, yeah.
Dawnblade, thank you. It sucks that you have to start with the Dawnblade because I can't aim that goddamn sword, but I can throw a goddamn bomb.
Until you get like the homing for the like the fire swipes, it's pretty. I have the same problem.
Yeah.
Bad.
And by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you were just using the rocket launcher in this on the video here.
I had to change it because
I just want to fucking know how the fuck is that even close to a shotgun? How the fuck is it even compared to a shotgun as a power weapon? Rocket launcher, huge amount of explosion power, kills like multiple things. Put the shotgun back in the regular rotation.
I'll just to counter argument. A lot of it's based on how much ammo you have. You can have, let's say, like 4 rockets, or you can have like 16 to 20 shotgun shells. So,
all right.
Are there any exotics that are shotguns?
I'm done with the whole shotgun thing. It just bothers me.
Exotics or shotguns? I don't know all the new ones yet. I haven't gotten one, but there's got to be. There's got to be at least one exotic per like weapon class, I assume.
Okay.
But
yeah, how are the new exotics? Are they pretty cool? And how many came from Destiny 1? If you know off the top of your head.
I've tried to be pretty spoiler free for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But I know there's a handful, like some like staples, like the Mida multi-tool is like a scout rifle that's been in the game for a while, and that came back. But it has a pairing legendary weapon where it gets basically if you use that weapon and then the elemental Mida mini tool, they get like bonuses for being used together and stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh,
this
like
is me
a set
humping my
bonus.
brother, by the way. If you're wondering what that's about down there, that's me humping Professor
Man,
Bowman
you and your
because
brother are weird as shit.
Hey, man. We come from Missouri. Don't judge.
So they're working in like some sort of set bonus now, or is it only for that item?
For some items, yeah, and it's pretty cool. There's not a lot of it right now, but it's something I've wanted for a long time. Like being rewarded for like let's say completing an entire raid and getting a raid set bonus is something I think is super cool. Yeah. Where if you wear all the raid armor, you basically get like a raid exotic perk without wearing an exotic. I think that'd be really cool, but they haven't done something like that yet.
Yeah, I mean that's classic MMO stuff, right?
Set bonuses.
Yeah. That was the stuff that was awesome, right? Oh, I got my 4-piece, or at least I got my 2-piece, my 4-piece, blah blah blah, and like the 4-piece stuff was just a ginormous upgrade. It also looked really fucking cool. And people would see it and be like, "Oh God, he's got the 4-piece."
Speaking of looking cool, is there glamour in this game?
Not that we know of, no. But
I thought that's what the thing was saying. It's like you could glamour up your.
So you can. There's shaders. There's shaders where you can basically get a shader and then apply like a color scheme that can also change like material type.
Right.
But no, there's no transmog in the game right now.
Okay. I could have sworn I saw something about that. Like, what's that lady that's in the, I don't know if it's a lady or not, but she's in the main starting camp, and it says I think it even says glamour.
Hawthorne? You see, is it glimmer?
Not glimmer. Hold on.
Zeke's gonna run over there real quick.
I'm running over there real quick. I just want to make sure like I know what the hell I'm fucking talking about.
So you mentioned shaders. Some of the controversy that I have seen is that they have single use. Is that across the board now, or
that's across the board?
How's the perception of that, or reception of that rather?
People are kind of confused.
Yeah. Do you think they put that in there because it's like, hey, you can go grind some more things because you want to?
There's like potentially that could absolutely be one of the reasons. It could also be because now there's weapon shaders as well, so they kind of wanted to make the system flat to where can do that. The only I guess quote unquote benefit is that now you'll be able to have a shader on a piece of armor and then have a different one like on your chest versus your helmet. So if you wanted to mix and match, now you can. So that's like the quote unquote plus, but typically I like to match. So that's not really a selling point for me. But yeah.
Zeke, did you find your Your
I
glamour?
had to go to Orbit and go to the place.
Okay. There's less going to orbit this time around, right? You can just kind of snap from place to place.
Yeah. So now the overworld map is, or like the director, as they call it. You can choose to go from anywhere if you're on any location. So there's no longer like they basically have the loading times. You no longer unload the area to go to space and then reload a new area. You just go from one area to another. And you can fast travel in patrol zones as well, which is pretty nice as well.
Does that speed up on? Are you on a PS4 Pro?
Yeah.
Do you have an SSD in it?
Not currently, no. I looked at the stuff and I was like, I wasn't too impressed where I felt like just doing that. Maybe I will eventually.
Yeah,
but it seemed like it wasn't that big of a difference.
Oh, so it doesn't speed up the loads too dramatically?
No, it's not like it does. Like it absolutely does, but not to where I'm like, that's worth the time and the effort.
Okay.
So I typically don't.
Yeah, I'm just
on
trying
PC,
to.
I'm sure it's going to be insane.
That's what I was
On
asking.
PC,
like,
you're going to be limited to the servers at that point, in like putting you in an instance and then you going there. That's actually the biggest problem right now with patrol spaces. No, sorry, no, social spaces like the tower and the farm is basically it has to like get a lot of character data, and so sometimes it'll be loading in for a while. There's actually one thing on Twitter, I wish I retweeted it, where it loaded like 28 people at the same time, and so you see this like giant flash of light and like all these body parts fall to the ground and we're all loading in the same spot. That's kind of the current bottleneck for social spaces, is just having that many like playable like actual playing characters in one space. It seems to be causing some slowness for that, but otherwise it's pretty quick. I haven't had too many complaints. Then again, I went from a lot of loading to half as much loading, so I could be absolutely biased in that.
totally.
So
Yeah, makes sense.
I found what I was talking about. It's not what are bright engrams?
Oh, bright engrams are, so one, you can buy them for their currency, which is silver in the game, or once you hit level 20, every single time you level up, quote unquote, you get a bright engram, which gives you cosmetics and stuff like that. Which includes shaders. It includes like ornaments for exotic weapons. There's some like glamored gear, quote unquote, that looks really cool, but it comes at like the worst possible power, so that way you can't pay to win and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Okay.
it's just for cosmetic use. So you basically
That's what I'm
equip
saying,
it,
like,
and then you have to infuse something.
You can do fashion like because everybody knows
So-
that the end game of Final Fantasy 14 is fashion.
Sure.
Dude, yeah, fashion.
Is that the end game of Destiny? I mean, have they put that element in there?
So because of the infusion system, sort of. So once
Okay.
you have like a legendary and exotic piece, which I think it's even blue things now, you can basically take something that's stronger than what you have. Let's say you love what you have, and take the power and slap it in something else.
That's
But
exactly
you
what
lose the
glamour
item in the
is.
process.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
But no, you don't lose the item in the glamour process. Like transmog means you get to keep both things, and you can just show one while wearing another.
Yeah.
This deletes the thing that you are putting in something else. So that's why it's not the exact same.
It eats the item.
okay.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the infusion thing or infuse process, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's infusion.
Yeah.
so. What I'm asking is, like, I have a helmet that I like, but it's shit for stats. I get a helmet that I do like look wise, and
Sure.
it's really, really good, and I don't like the way it looks. I can smash them together, keep the looks and the stats, but I have one item.
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
There are some exceptions there, but like once you get into the higher tier of stuff and you get lots of legendaries, like you can infuse as much as you want.
Okay.
Like I said, I can't recall if you can do that with the blue color, like the quote unquote rare stuff. But legendaries and exotics, you can. You can infuse up anything you want.
And I know this may not seem important to some people, but I know it's really
No,
important. to a
no.
lot.
This is. I think this is fine to talk about because
I mean,
part of the
looking the way
game,
you
man.
want is important. Like
Yeah.
I've spent money in Final Fantasy on shit because I want to look cool or
Oh,
I
yeah.
want
Me
to look
too.
stupid.
You don't want to know how much
Dude.
money I spent on PoE to look cool.
Oh, we got to talk. I spent a lot of money in Co.
Hey,
Oh, I
you know that
spent
show
a-
Fandom you want to talk about? I think that's a game for you can play. I'm just saying, like.
Co, I
Maybe
spent
a
way
PoE
too much
fandom.
money over the weekend. I made some bad decisions. We'll talk about that later. By the way, Zeke and T-Rex, they put the yokai stuff back in Final Fantasy 14, so you can go get that mount now.
The Sperm Mount?
Yeah, you can get the little ghost mount. I'm pretty stoked to do that later. Zeke, I'll send you a link so you can see the best mount in the game that's back till November or something like that.
It's so funny that everyone's talking about, like, just for a second, it's so funny that everybody talks about, like, the best mount in the game when they give you the best mount in the game.
What, the fat
You ride
chocobo?
a fucking dragon.
Oh, no.
They give
Well,
it to
I ride
you.
Twin Tanya, so that's what I do.
Hold on, Zeke. Let me show you
dive
the
on
best.
people.
All right, Zeke. This is the best mount in the game. Wait, that's a
Is
bad
it that-
photo.
It's not that horse that's completely like lightning and just gaudy and
that's everyone has Ixtal now, so that kind of.
Oh, no. Fuck Ixel.
That's cool.
This is it right
Okay.
here, Zeke. Here, I'll
I think
just
it's
show this
ugly
on
as
stream.
fuck.
Then we'll just get back to Destiny. Sorry, but we have to broadcast for some weeb shit. Zeke, this is it right here.
Yeah, that's it. So imagine that's like
Look
a
at Zeke's
child's
face.
scooter.
It's so
That's
good,
kind of
Zeke.
how you write it.
No, it honestly, yeah, it looks like a fucking Scooty Puff Jr. is what
Zeke,
it looks like.
Or
Or
imagine-
no, it looks like one of those things that's out in front of Kmart. You put a quarter in.
Zeke,
The kids.
Imagine
like,
a giant fucking Rogaine in there. It's gonna be great. I can't wait.
Yeah, you ride Sperm. It's a Sperm.
Yeah,
Like you just.
he has a little tail and everything in it. Oh,
Yep.
I got to do that later. I'm excited. Anyways, let's jump back to Destiny 2. What is this whole deal that everyone's people on the internet? I don't know if you guys are aware of this. They like to go fucking crazy when microtransactions come into play. What is this? What is this thing that they've added into Destiny 2 where people are like, "Oh, it's pay to win"?
So, bright engrams, like I said earlier, you can pay for them or you can get them by just playing. You know, like a lot of games have nowadays. The thing that like I said, I don't agree with it, but I wouldn't say it's pay to win. Is there is armor mods and weapon mods you can get out of those engrams, but they're not the good ones. Like they're ones that do very basic things, like change a weapon element from one to another, which I have boatloads of without even spending a dime. The legendary ones, which add like defense and attack to your items, those, for as far as I understand it, can't be purchased. Maybe
so it's
I
just-
misread something, or maybe I haven't unlocked them or can't find them. But
So for people that don't sit there and fucking stream Destiny 2 for a living, that want to hop in once a week, they could buy something.
Yeah.
How much do they cost?
the funny thing is that you actually get a rested XP bonus once you hit 20 to basically allow you to get bright engrams faster. You
Oh.
get, I think, bonus XP for your first 3 levels of the week. So your first 3 bright engrams you get faster by just playing. So I don't agree with the mods being in there, but I think that people who freak out and say pay to win are people who don't know what pay to win is and just
it's the drive-by
do
viewers,
it.
yeah.
They do it for the memes, man. They do it because they got you.
So
got you.
what is the price on that stuff?
I don't know yet. So if it's the same silver pricing, I can't recall, but the store's still down. You can't actually spend money and even approach it right now.
Is that because like oversaturation, or they just don't have it live yet, or what?
Could not begin to tell you.
Huh.
My best guess, like I don't
So
know.
wait, people are bitching about
random
something
guess.
that's not even like active. They're just
Yeah.
fuck internet. I'm not surprised, but what the fuck?
Like, I totally get the concern. I guess once again, if you like don't understand the game, like, and you just see, oh, you can buy something that you equip on your armor and it helps you, that's pay to win. Like, it helps you about as much as having like a gold weapon in Overwatch helps you. Like, grats, dude, you got that skin. Oh man, you're gonna wreck me now because you're Fire Woman May or something.
But is it all just cosmetic stuff?
Yeah, minus those mods, everything is cosmetic. Like the exotic ornaments, spawn in animations, stuff like that.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool. There's also
Yeah,
dance
there's
like
a lot of cool stuff in there. The really like the pricey emotes. There's one where you make like a table out of lasers and then flip it.
I've seen the salt
like,
one
it's-
too.
There's the salt one. There's one where you make and eat ramen.
Yeah. it's
They
pretty good.
fucking
Or
know
shoot
their
a bunch
audience,
of
man.
meatballs.
That
Oh
shit
yeah,
is
no,
awesome.
that's the type of stuff that I totally have no problem paying for.
Yeah.
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 Or having offered, but like it doesn't. There's nothing you can pay for that will make the game easier for you.
The only thing I could say is there's the fire team medallion, which I honestly forgot about this. That gives you increased experience and more loot, but it doesn't explain it at all. So I can't tell you what it really does. It's very ambiguous.
Oh.
I don't even know how much XP it gives you, and that's a fire team bonus for 4 hours.
That's something you
that
can pay for with real money.
So not directly. So you would have to either get it out of the bright engrams randomly, or if you had bright dust, which gets rewarded to you randomly from the engrams, I think they're 50 a piece. I actually got super lucky on one of my level up engrams. I got 1,000 of that stuff, 1,000 of the bright dust. So I got 20 of those, and we'll just use them throughout the week. But once again, I didn't spend a dime, so I don't know. Because I don't know how strong that is, I can't really comment.
Yeah.
And you didn't hold on.
If it triples my luck, yeah, that's fucked up. Like I can agree, that's fucked up. But I don't know. You know, it's day two.
and like let it be known that you've gotten all of these things without spending a dime outside of buying the game. But what I'm saying is, for playing less than 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it seems like if you just play the game, you're going to get pretty much everything already, which is fun. Ko, what about you? You've obviously been at least checked out the stream and been watching it on Twitch. What are your thoughts so far, or comments, questions, whatever? Where's your head at with Destiny right now?
Well, a few things. The game itself is everything that I was thinking it was going to be. You know, I played a lot of the last PC beta. Looked like more Destiny. It's exactly what I wanted. I thought the console release was going to be, you know, pretty much the same. It has been. I've only dropped in a few streams, but from everything I've seen, like, this has been, from a content perspective, one of the more easy to call releases that there's ever been, which has been good. The thing that did take me back a little bit, though, is numerically, there was actually surprisingly more hype for Taken King than Destiny 2 on Twitch, which is weird. I don't know why that is. I thought that people would have been really hyped to check out the content and kind of tune in, you know, to see all the new things, the new weapons, and all the new mechanics and systems. But yeah, it's been kind of
that, actually.
Yeah, but and a lot of people are probably waiting for the raids.
I'm sure. Here's a couple factors that factor into it. Is one, I actually didn't know that. So that's interesting. Thank you for telling me. I've been so like. I haven't had a chance just to look at everything on a higher level.
You've been enjoying the game, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So
also, I'm a huge numbers nerd, for the record.
Yeah, me and Ko sat there.
Dude, no.
Yeah.
Go back.
Please,
Ko, did you see the numbers last night at 9:43 and blah blah
Me
blah?
and JP have the dorkiest conversations.
The biggest reason I would say is a lot of folks are explicitly not watching because they're waiting for it to launch on PC so they can play it.
It's kind of what we were thinking.
I want to think that, but do you think the PC release is going to, like, here's a question from somebody who definitely understands the Destiny community better than I do. Do you think the PC release is going to be as big as the console release, which would be odd in itself?
I agree.
Do you think it's actually going to be bigger?
On Twitch, I think it's going to potentially, I think it comes down to who gets involved, you know? Like, if you yourself play for, let's say, 2 weeks straight, that's numerically, you're going to bring a lot to the flipping table, dude. Like, if you and Lyric and a lot of the PC folks stick around for any kind of longevity, that's going to
Exactly. I mean, I think if you throw Ko in there, you throw Dr. Disrespect, Lyric, Summit, Tim, all those guys will probably be streaming it on Twitch.
Just
did they all skip the console release?
Lyric and Summit are playing. Dr. Disrespect, I think, skipped it. I don't know if Tim's playing. I can't think of any other of the bigger. Shroud will probably play PC as well.
Just Shroud. I didn't see Shroud online at all. So
yeah.
Because he was doing really well with the PC beta. I was happy to see him playing.
Yeah. On the numbers part of the thing, or part of the topic, I remember back at I think it was during E3 when they showed and unveiled this whole thing. We were saying like, oh yeah, you know, launch day is going to have 300,000. I think 300,000. I remember very specifically, I said 300,000 would be the number. I think it peaked around like 130 or 115 or something like that.
And that was with many of the big casters streaming it at the time.
And like I said, I think a lot of folks don't want to be spoiled because if you look prospectively at the Bungie reveals, people tuned in for that. So I don't think it's people don't want. Well, I think it is people don't want to watch, but not for the reason that's a bad reason. I think that it comes down to a lot of folks are probably avoiding Twitch, especially at launch because of the rolling launch. A lot of the U.S. folks had to avoid it for like 16 hours because they had that much time to wait until the game was released for them.
Yeah, I think that whole thing was pretty stupid, but that's another topic.
I feel the same way. I get that it's like good for your servers, But I think for a game like this, it's very community oriented. It's very much like a race to be prepared for the raid. All these things you include, even if there's server issues, which there's always are, as seen when the US servers went live, just take that bullet so that way, like, it's at least remotely close to each other. Like, I know I played early, but like it sucks for everybody. Like I would love that everyone starts the same way, and I've been that way forever. You know, like I can't get into an MMO unless I'm there on the ground floor. It's why I can't play WoW, but I play Final Fantasy 14 because I've always played it.
Yeah.
Because I never feel like I'm behind. I hate that feeling as a gamer of coming in late to something. It's just not fun for me.
Yeah.
It's rough. I'll be honest with you. It's rough.
Someone brought up another point too, that lower viewers due to school as well. And by the time people got home from school, I think by the time people got home from school yesterday, at least Eastern or at least Central, Goth had finished the game, the story aspect of it. So
yeah,
or most of you actually had finished the game, really, because you all started around the same time. The story is not the game itself.
It was 7 Central Time is when it went live for me, if I remember right.
Yeah, the whole release thing, to go back on that, I understand why they did it. They did it for serviceability. They didn't want, the entire world hitting X at the same time, right? Because you already saw there was like login issues. And when I say issues, that was probably just like a bottleneck that they closed and then started letting people in more and more and more. I get that. But it's just, it was really silly, like getting emails like, hey, here's a code that'll unlock it, blah, blah, blah time. And then it unlocked yesterday morning at 8 a.m. It just worked at 8 a.m. And they didn't say that to a single person.
Yeah. The press copy apparently was a digital version that you downloaded, but wasn't region locked.
Yeah.
Which they didn't convey at all.
No. They said, don't play this till midnight.
That surprised all of us.
Yeah.
Because we were all trying to be like, all right, what can we do to make sure that, as many people as possible can be playing when they're supposed to for like our raid team? Because that we really want to make a sort of effort to do well in the raid.
Mm-hmm.
And to then have like not very good communication over if they're giving copies and stuff like that, to then just be like, oh yeah, everyone got one and they all work, was really confusing.
It was
just
totally
confusing.
Yeah, I didn't even use that code because like, well, there's no point because I'm not going to play tomorrow night at midnight. I'll be asleep. So I'll just put this in sometime later this week. And then someone was like, oh no, that works now. So I started downloading it like 2 hours after it had, quote, already launched. And yeah, sure enough, after it downloaded, it worked right away. But in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter to the normal consumer. That's a very streamer thing. I just hope that when the PC launch comes around, it's a little bit more structured, I guess.
I don't know, man. Like,
they'll probably do it the same exact way, to be honest. But I hope they don't.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It depends what I guess in that regard, to be what Activision wants, and I don't know if Blizzard has a hand in that because it's not their servers. It's just their platform. So I don't know.
I mean, I guess that's now that I think of it, they do a global launch for WoW. Well, no, that's not true. EU usually gets it earlier, don't they?
But it's also Blizzard servers though.
Yeah.
These are still Bungie servers. From what I understand, these are like Blizzard's involvement is like with some QA stuff because it's on their platform and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the launcher, but otherwise I think that's the extent of their involvement.
I'd be very surprised to learn if Activision and Blizzard have different servers for Overwatch, Call of Duty. Like they probably have the same farms that just spin up different servers depending on what they need. I'm sure we'll never actually know that information, but I wonder make sense.
If it's a marketing decision or if it truly will be like do they see it as they'll sell more copies if everyone plays together, or if it really is just servers? But I guess we'll never know.
I mean, they'll sell more copies if the headline is not, "Hey, Destiny's down," because people can't fucking play. Right. So I don't know. The whole thing's a little bit weird, but it seems like except for the very start, the first 5-10 minutes yesterday in each respective region, it seems like servers have been fine from what I can tell. Yeah. So raid comes out next week, next Thursday, Friday. When is it? Wednesday. Okay.
Yep. You get one full week.
They haven't said it. Luke Smith tweeted out that they're not putting a teaser or anything, right? They're just going to launch the raid.
Yep.
And that's pretty
Is
unorthodox.
it one raid?
It's only one raid. It's pretty par for the course for them. Like, we didn't technically know how the raid for the Taken King was going to happen. We saw pictures of it, but we didn't necessarily know. I think it was from the raid. It's been so long though; it's hard to even remember. It was over 2 years ago. But a lot of the stuff we know maybe what like the raid boss is, but we don't really know much besides that. Like maybe know like the premise. This we don't even know the premise. It's completely like we have the name, Leviathan. That's it.
Oh.
But there is hints all around the game's adventures and stories about what Leviathan is and who we're going to fight there. And I have my guesses, and I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Without spoiling.
Could you have said that a bit more smug?
Yeah, that was pretty smug.
No, I
mean, maybe
really,
Zeke. I guess I'm no longer king
I'm
shit.
fucking
You know,
with you obviously, but I love it was completely eyes closed. Like I'm pretty sure you know who it is.
Because
it was great.
When you get told you're wrong so often, you're like, yeah, I feel pretty fucking right.
I feel pretty fucking right now.
it feels good not to be the smuggest one on the call. I gotta say, it's world first. It's world first. No, I'm joking.
Wow. Hey, I already have one, man.
What? Oh, that's true.
Is that smug too? I
That's
closed
true.
my eyes again.
That might have been smug.
Is that good?
That might have been smug.
What was your world first?
King's Fall. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, with Goth and
Oh,
Bromance
I
and the
don't
raid
know.
group.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fun fact is that at the start of the game, if you play Destiny 1, you get memories.
This
Yeah.
was fucking awesome, by the way.
I felt the same way. I didn't know. I was blown away. But they registered. There's a handful of events that happen. It's like your first raid clear, like an important story campaign mission, and they basically give you a screenshot of what your fire team was and like if you completed it. So I had all those, and the one for King's Fall had, of course, our world's first team, but the image was inspired by our first interaction with it, where I'm looking over the edge down where Oryx spawns at, and the rest of my fire team is back. So that image was inspired by our fire team, and that was really special.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I got it.
When I first saw that stuff at the beginning of the game, I think I was talking to Ko. Ko might have been live as well, but I was watching whatever stream it was, and when I first saw it, I was like, "Wait, are these highlighting the world first for each respective raid, or is it just for the player?" And it took me a while to realize it's just for the player. It would have been real cool if they highlighted the world first, like if it said somewhere on that screen. And granted, they wanted to do it for the specific players, not for like the best in the world, blah blah blah. But yeah,
It'd be cool for like 3 or 4 people.
yeah, exactly.
Like, it'd be cool, but like, I mean, dude, like the fact that it happened regardless, like we could ask that a lot. Being, do you think that there should be like a world's first emblem? Like, it'd be cool, but I'm not gonna ask for it. I feel like that'd be a pretty douchey. You want to talk about smug and pompous? Like, I feel like that would be.
Well, that's what I thought it was, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's really fucking cool." They did that, but now the fact that they did it for everyone that did stuff in Destiny 1 is
no,
even
it was
cooler.
it was really awesome to see like when the game first starts up. I picked the same character. I'm playing on my same account and all that kind of stuff, and it showed like all the the raids and whatever the events that I've done, and it showed like every single person that was in the fire team, and I was just like, wow, I can't believe like that was so long ago, and I don't know how they even kept track of that. It's fucking amazing.
I don't either. They have like a super great analytics guy, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know where they would pull. I guess maybe that info was probably on the Bungie thing. Bungie account.
You can, but I feel like I didn't know it was stored. I thought it like ended at a date. I didn't think I could go back to like my first because you can like permalink PvP and stuff and show stats that way. And the same with like raid and strike contents. But I had no idea they were going back for 3 years through stuff, which is absurd.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if they'll continue that for the next iteration of Destiny, whatever that is, and whenever that comes out 4 or 5 years from now, or 3 years from now.
2020.
Yeah. Is there any interest? Obviously, you're focused on raid stuff, so I don't think there is. But the PvP, have you messed with it at all? Is it pretty much what you got in the open betas for the PvPers out there?
I mean, yeah, I think that the folks who played the beta already know what Crucible is. There's more maps and there's a couple new game modes. And it's not even new. They're just other game modes that have been in the game before. So I think what you see is what you get there. A lot of folks want to make it an esport. I don't know if it is. Like I don't know.
Sorry, I
It's one of
laughed
those
because
things.
that they're not laughing at the making
Everything-
esports because everything's an esport now.
Yeah, I guess.
Marketing's an esport.
But sure. But they want leagues and stuff like that, and they want all these changes for balance and stuff like that. But I try not to get too involved because I am more of a PvE person, and I try not to talk out of my ass about things I don't know, just because I think then you look stupid, which I look stupid enough without that. So it is pretty much the same. If you play the beta, you know what you're getting into. Where there's a lot more guns, and now you have more subclasses that you got to worry about when you play and stuff like that.
Yeah. So where are you at right now in the game? What's your light level? What do you got left to do? How long have you put into kind of the farming aspect of it?
Right before I hopped on here, we did our first Nightfall, which is minimum 240, or I think recommended 240. And then I didn't know this. There's a Power 300 version of that, which I had no idea, which surprised me. And they changed the way Nightfalls work, and that was really enjoyable.
Nightfalls are
I'm
the,
270. Nightfall.
yeah. Explain Nightfalls for the
Sure.
Me
So
and
actually,
a
if you
Nightfall.
don't mind, when you're doing that, can you explain the other stuff too, like what a strike is and those things? Because I don't know what any of that shit is.
Yeah, that's fine. A strike is basically a 3-player activity where it's basically like a WoW dungeon. That's kind of the analogous thing you could talk about. To where you zone in, you have like a little short story and a boss to beat at the end. And the boss has mechanics potentially and all that jazz. And the Nightfall version of that is an incredibly difficult version. And this time around, they changed it up to where you have at the start a timer, and I think it's just 11 minutes. And if it goes to 0, you get kicked to orbit. You lose. You fail if you don't complete it within that time. And currently, there is a modifier called time lapse, and it says time lapse, and I think it says kill spree. I think is what the modifier is, and you get time added for kills that you have during it.
Oh,
So
that's
basically,
cool.
you want to be efficiently killing things to keep that time up. And there's bonuses for like completing within 5 minutes, or sorry, no, with like having 5 minutes left on your timer and stuff like that. So that was really, really cool. I didn't know that's how it changed, because originally in Destiny 1, the Nightfall version, before they changed it and made it a little easier, if all your fire team died, you were kicked to orbit.
right.
That's how it
remember
worked. So this is a good medium to where like death is not an immediate failure, but it does make things more difficult. And you always have that tipping that clock you're working against. Because Nightfall after that, like, or even during that, kind of became like find safe spot, be a little bitch and sit behind it, shoot boss. And I hated that.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah. You had
This
to
was
play
really
super
fun.
defensive. So
Yeah, and you can't blame them. Like, you just want to get your loot. That's how you play it, but it's not fun.
So a Nightfall is like a harder strike with a equipment level requirement.
Yeah, so a Nightfall is a weekly, as Destiny's calls them, rituals, but it's like a weekly lockout for you complete it once and you get bonuses based on that. And it has a power requirement to enter, and the enemies are incredibly tough. And it has the timer and other things as well. But basically, it's like kind of like intro to end game PvE content. It's definitely not as hard as a raid, but it does give you something more challenging than what is currently available to you if you just play casually.
So you guys did the 240 version today,
Yes.
and that gives you equipment that I'm assuming you would not get in the normal strike, like next.
Yes.
I don't want to say tier,
So-
but like
But basically, the way it kind of works right now, we're still trying to figure it out, because a lot of the loot stuff this is, once again, day 2. So if you're watching this in the future and it's different, don't at me, please. But it looks like a soft cap for progression at power 265, to where these blues and all your factions no longer give you better gear. So you're going to get 265 permanently. And the way you get past that is you do these harder activities, which have weekly lockouts. So it's a way to kind of get your progression. So, and, JP plays Final Fantasy 14, if you do Savage once a week, you can get better and better gear until you're maxed out. It's kind of
Right.
like that, to
Is that-
keep you, carried on the stick.
has it been that structured in the past? It hasn't, right?
It got that structured pretty much in Taken King.
Okay.
And then it got gamed because of a system they incorporated with exotic engrams and how you could acquire them, to where you really didn't have to do anything. And it was pretty messed up, and I hated it.
Okay. So yeah, I guess the system, you're enjoying what you're finding out now. Again, day 2. Sorry. Jesus, sorry, it might change the next couple of days.
Yeah, like I just got there. Like I just hit the soft cap, like literally right before I showed up. The when you infuse, it lists the actual cap as power 350, so I am 80 off of that right now. But I don't really know where that all comes from. Because the conversation we had before, privately, was that it sounded like stuff was coming from goes up to 300 in the raid. So where is the extra 50 at? Is it in the hard mode version? And there's so many questions and unknowns that I simply can't.
Have they done a hard mode raid?
Ass.
Have they done a hard mode raid before?
Oh yeah, they've done plenty of hard mode raids.
Okay.
So basically, it's not like Savage in Final Fantasy where everything changes, and it's fundamentally just a drastically different fight. Hard mode typically in the past has restricted your revives to where you cannot revive anybody. And it has higher level gear, especially limited gear. Like the only way to get, specific things was to do the hard mode version of the raid, whether it's gear or weapons. And originally, for people who did Vault of Glass, the only way you got a Fatebringer, which was like the primary weapon to get, was by beating Templar on hard mode. But they said they're not doing that death penalty again. So I really don't know what to expect with hard mode. It could be like Savage, to where things are like, oh yeah, we're going to throw new mechanics at you and give you 2 fingers and have you figure it out.
Yeah. Which would...
We'll see.
I mean, in correlations to WoW, they definitely did that, like, difficulty jump with the Savage, or not Savage, the Mythic stuff, I guess is what it's called, is the term in WoW.
I think so.
And that stuff is, like, stupid, ludicrous hard. And so it would be cool to see that type of stuff in Destiny for sure, where it's not just you finish the raid this week and hey, we'll see you next week. It's hey, let's go actually try the difficult stuff. Like this is
I would agree.
Yeah, this is the raid for everyone, and then there's the raid for the people that want to fucking struggle bus for a while.
And the thing that always made me sad is that hard mode raids never really were like that. You had like on hard mode, maybe like one thing would change, but your strat wouldn't even need to change. You just like you couldn't die. And like, that's, I guess, more difficult, but not as difficult as I wanted, as someone who's like a hardcore PvE player. But Destiny does appeal to a much wider casual player base. So I know I'm in the minority when I say that that's something I want. I want to fail for a week.
Right.
But I highly doubt that'll be something they ever put in the game. I could be wrong though.
One of the last things I want to ask, from what I've seen and what I've read, it seems like the game is more approachable for people who've never played it. It's more easy to just jump in this time and kind of understand everything. Yeah. Would you agree with that? And if so, what has changed to facilitate such a thing?
One of the big things is like it requires less investment to basically play the game in general. What you would have to do originally, there's a few things. One, classes, armor, and weapons no longer have to be leveled as they were in Destiny 1, where you had to put experience in them to get the perks and stuff. Now, you get your class abilities by just leveling, and you get ability points by either doing adventures or leveling up, and you spend those, and then you get so many towards like you easily can get all your subclasses maxed. I got all mine maxed in 10 hours, versus like it would take that long to max maybe one. And then you'd be deprived of like your base abilities for a long time and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And also armor and weapons no longer have to be leveled at all. You get all the perks right out of the gate. So it's a lot less busy work, as I guess the ways to put it. And then, they made a lot of things really simple and easy to understand, but not to where it became, snooze fest or boring. So yeah, I think the game is much more approachable currently with what I've seen, but hasn't been like, some games turn approachable into I no longer want to play it because I fall asleep. It hasn't hit that point yet. Hopefully it doesn't like the raid and stuff like that either.
Sure. Well, that's all I got. Zeke and Co, you guys have any final questions, comments, or anything like that about Destiny before we let T-Rex get back to it?
It all sounds great, man.
Zeke, anything from you?
No.
He's playing.
Not particularly.
Oh,
I'm not playing. I'm just menuing around and looking at stuff. Not really like shooting anything.
What level are you up to now, Zeke?
Oh, I think I'm level. Wait, hold on. Level 7.
Okay. All right. You put like a couple hours into it, 2 or 3 hours or something?
Yeah, I put like 3 or 4 hours into it last night.
Cool.
With a lot of just screwing around and looking at things and reading all the lore and whatnot.
Yeah, it's been pretty tough for me. Luckily, I've had Path of Exile to kind of keep my interest, but it's definitely like, man, I want to jump in so that when I play the PC version, I don't make the mistakes that I'll play for the first time. That's where I'm just kind of like,
I mean, I'm making those mistakes now with like thinking I understand how something works, and then someone tells me later that's not how it works at all, and I punished myself inadvertently. I'm like,
that's where I'm at right now. It's like
wasted an hour.
Do I want to do that now and where it doesn't matter and I don't give a fuck because it's not what I'm going to play in 60 days? Or do I want to have all it for the first time when the game looks better and runs a little bit better? Like, I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence. I haven't decided yet. It might be the case that where I finish up with Path of Exile and I just decide to jump into it this weekend. So we shall see. But I want to
imply you were going to finish Path of Exile, which...
Yeah. I mean, for me,
Never
that
did.
again, we're going to talk about it when we come back, but for me, killing Shaper is the end of Path of Exile. I think I'll be good till next season or whatever the fuck it's called. Ladder, I don't know what it's called. Whenever it comes out in December and when they're supposed to put in the new content. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to jump into it, but thanks again for coming on, man. I know it's a big week for you, so taking the time off for an hour or so to join us was cool.
I love talking about things I like. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Why don't you do some shout outs?
Talked a lot. I'm sorry.
That's why you're here. Why don't you do some shout outs for us?
That's exactly why you're here.
Yeah. Promote your stuff, and we'll swap over to this, and you can do so.
Ooh. Well, hi. Hi, I'm T-Rex. I'm a partner broadcaster here on Twitch.television. I've been streaming for 4 years. I play a lot of Destiny right now. Whenever Destiny's there's nothing to do, I play whatever I want, and it's fun. Like, we beat Mario Rabbids right before I played this, and that was super fun to play.
God damn it.
It's so fun, dude. It's so fun.
I'm halfway through the last level.
Oh, the ending's great too. But yeah, if you want to watch, come say hi. I'd love to meet you. Thanks for having me on. Hope you don't hate me. If you do, just don't come tell me. That's all I got to do. Just don't.
Someone in chat's asking, final question. How long do you think it's going to take you to hit, quote, max power level?
Depends on how the raid works. I would say if progression works the way I think it does, probably within 2 months. But I don't know. We technically don't even know what max is right now for attainable. So it's a hard question to answer because I don't have all the variables to answer it.
What about like pre-raid gear? A couple days?
Pre-raid gear? I'm looking to hit hopefully 280 plus. So I don't know. I'm really close to being out of things to quote unquote do that will increase that. So we'll see. It might be longer. I do not know.
Okay.
Raid ready hopefully by this weekend. 100%.
Cool. Yeah, go watch if you want to watch them. It's twitch.tv/T-Rex. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with me, Ko, and Zeke and talk about everything else going on and what we've been playing, which is probably going to be a lot of XCOM, whatever indie stuff. Zeke's got like 3 weeks of indie stuff that we've just ignored because we've had busy shows the past couple of weeks. So we'll probably get to that.
Lots of it.
Yeah, we'll probably get to that this week, and then I'll probably be talking about some Path of Exile stuff.
And I want to talk about Darkwood.
Oh yeah, you got to talk about that. I'm interested to hear that. Well, cool. We'll take a quick break. T-Rex, good luck next week. I hope you and your crew end up getting world first. I'll be watching. Thanks, for sure. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. More Drop Frames right after this. We'll see you then.